Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle Earth here after a little bit of a hiatus. It's been almost 4 months since my last video. Taking a little bit of a break for lots of different reasons. If you guys watched my video explaining why I was taking a break, kind of know what's going on. I'll link that if you're interested. But long story short, just had to get some things sorted out. And I'm going back into season in just a couple of days. So I thought, I wanted to come on here and just say that I'll be doing some content moving forward. I don't know what it's going to look like until I really get into the swing of things. Previously, for the last 3 years of playing Rise Tour, I was doing it full time as a full time content creator. I do have a different full time job now to kind of have some more stability. So the cadence and schedule and those things might be different, but at the end of the day, I started this as a hobby. I've always really enjoyed it, and I do want to continue to share that with you all if you're interested. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, we're going in a couple of days. I'm playing back with my old team, and so I thought, A, let's get on here and say I'm coming back. B, I kind of want to go through and show you guys what we're working with in terms of the account, what commanders I'm planning to play with next season, or what formations and what gear I'm going to have on them. That way you guys can kind of see where the account's at, because again, it's been a hot minute. Nothing has really changed on my account. However, I think the meta has shifted very, very slightly, or at least certain commanders have, changed how they're utilized. And so it's going to adjust how I'm doing things. I have a whopping 20 of the Elven Craftsman's hammers. So I think we're going to use a lot, if not all of those, to move different things around, make sure the best pieces are on my best formation, and kind of go from there. So that's the whole plan for this video. Kind of just wanted to put this out here and say that I'm planning to do something moving forward. So if you're interested in that, if you want to see some different videos or live streams of those things, hit subscribe if you aren't already, to make sure you're kind of staying up to date with that stuff. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's been supporting the channel through this hiatus time period. If you guys have been following for a long time, you know that I have a top-up link through NetEase. It's linked down the description below. Long story short, if you use that link to make purchases instead of making them in the game by clicking in this area over here, it supports the channel. I get a very small kickback, but some of that stuff does add up. And there were a lot of people during that 4-month period who were still using my link and supporting the channel. And honestly, that allowed me to get things sorted out a little bit faster. So big shout out to people who have been using the link continuously, because that's honestly helped me get things sorted out and back into a place of being able to enjoy the game a little bit more. So thank you to you guys. And now if you're jumping back into it or want to watch the content again, that's linked down below. If you want to use the top-up link, it does support the channel. It's actually cheaper in a lot of parts of the world. So check it out for yourself. But again, just wanted to put that out there for those who've been supporting. So anywho, it's been a long time, but let's go ahead and roll the intro and get into the actual video. All right, so starting off, I'm going to talk through the 3 different formations I'm going to be using. Obviously, the goal is just to focus on one main formation, get the best gear on them. But I've been playing for a long time, have a lot of different commanders at different respect levels, so I want to get some utilization out of different commanders. My understanding is that unit damage is a little bit more viable than it was. So there are some commanders who might have more viability than they had 4 months ago. Again, if you guys have different ideas or thoughts on what I should be doing, I'd love to hear those in the comments below. I'm going to basically go through and tell you guys who I plan to use in my formations and what gear I'm going to put on them. We'll break some of it down. I won't strengthen or refine anything in this video. That way, if there are any major ideas or things that happen, you guys can let me know. But to start out, for formation 1, we are going to be running Dane, which is no surprise. To my understanding, Dane is still the king of commander damage. So we'll be running a very standard Dane with the best damage gear we can. We'll be running Gandalf the White as well. And again, to my understanding, Gandalf the White hasn't really changed. Again, I keep saying to my understanding because it's been 4 months, so I apologize. Maybe you guys are like, duh, we get it. But again, my understanding is that initiative and how madness and some of the pre-battle stuff works has changed. And so the Sauron versus Gandalf the White thing may not be as important in terms of battling for initiative. If I'm wrong, correct me. But long story short, I believe we're just focusing on getting as much focus on Gandalf the White for White Council. I don't think initiative's a bad thing, but I don't think we need to push it maybe as hard as we did before. Again, let me know if you have some thoughts on that. But my understanding is that the madness no longer goes in the pre-battle phase, so it makes it less viable for that coin flip madness in the beginning. Now, speaking of madness, we are still using Sauron as the 3rd in our lineup. And again, my understanding for him is that we're doing more of a debuff, working the R5 and the top R1 Deceiver. For debuffs going out, we will still have some points over here. We'll still have madness and stuns going out if we can, but the big thing is going to be running the enemy and the deceiver. So that's for Sauron. And then our last but not least, we're actually going to be running Gil-galad. Now, I don't typically run him, nor do I have a very good one. I mean, R7 is, I think, fine, but I know a lot of bigger, better Gils. But we're going to be running kind of a unit defense, really tanky Gil with his Kingly Kin and High King skills. That's going to be the first formation. I think the Gil spot could be debated a little bit, but I thought it'd be an interesting one to try out. So those are going to be the commanders in formation number 1. And I'll talk about gear for those guys in a second, but I'll quickly tell you guys who I'm running in my other formations as well. Okay, in no particular order, in my second formation, I'm going to be running Witch King. Again, what I'm understanding is that I think he's going to be a little bit more viable as a troop support. So running kind of attack heavy gear on him, Black Captain with the Lord of Minas Morgul, I believe, for unit defense or for unit debuffing. And again, I'm going to be double checking all these things and verifying as I get started, but just kind of sharing with you guys where I think I'm at with things. So Witch King will be number 1. Number 2, we're running Lurtz just as his damage, his standard commander damage. Excuse me. It's been a long time since I talked in a microphone. The reason I'm running Lurtz in this formation over Shadow, who I like a lot and also have ascended to Mythic, is that I have his relic here, and I think I can refine it a couple of more times. So for that reason specifically, and just wanting to pump into his relic a little bit more, I'm gonna run him as like my next most primary behind Dane damage commander. But I'm running Shadow, spoiler alert, in my third one, and I may find that I like him more than the Lurtz. But for now, we're gonna try Lurtz because we have the relic. So Witch King, Lurtz. We're also running Sestaro. If you guys have been around, you know I've got a pretty juiced up Sestaro at Z2. When 2.0 came out, I decided to go all in on him. I don't know why, but I've heard decent things about him. I also have his relic, for better or for worse. I won't be doing anything with it, I don't believe, but I do have his relic, which will help a little bit. So we'll run Sestaro. And last but not least, in this lineup, we're going to be running Undying. Again, before I've run him as more damage, I think we're looking more as support, specifically running Undead Commander, potentially with some of the heals. I'd love if you guys have ideas here, because I don't know if I should run all kind of support with Undead Commander and Second Wind, or if healing is still pretty bad, I may just run some of Undertaker to help clear off stacks of White Council, that kind of thing. But that is the second formation. And then I want to say last but not least, but maybe it is least. But for the last one, we are going to be running what I think will be fun. Let me find them. Frodo and Sam in the third formation, followed by Gandalf the Grey. So Gandalf the Grey just run as Gandalf the White, obviously. And then we're doing Shadow and Skullhelm. So again, we kind of have the gear to shuffle around a little bit. Skullhelm's going to share basically the gear that Sestaro would be using, have an R9 Skullhelm, and then Shadow, again, sharing that damage gear. I did have a couple different sets of damage gear, so I may see if I want to run a couple of them, but ultimately the goal is to focus on the main formation as much as possible. But the Shadow ascended to Mythic. We do have his relic as well, but I didn't love it as much. Again, love to hear what you guys think. If you like Shadow's relic or have any ideas of who's worth investing in, I'm not planning to jump back in and drop tens of thousands of dollars, but over time I'd like to work on different commanders. So if you guys have thoughts or ideas, I would love to hear it. But those are the formations I'm running. And now really quickly, I want to go through what gear I'll be running on my main formation. Okay, honestly, I just looked up at the timer and I saw we're close to the 10-minute mark, and I'm not trying to ramble on forever, just in case you wanted to hop in and just see what commanders I'm running and hear what I had to say for a quick second. I'm actually going to make the gear portion of this video a part 2. I'm going to put it out pretty much right away after this one. So if you want to continue watching and see what gear I'm going to use, again, I'm going to go through and use all the hammers, break down a lot of my gear. I have, as some of you may know, I'm going to pull it up right here. I have all my gear on a spreadsheet, and so I can see every single piece of gear that I have with every single set effect. So I'm going to go through referencing some guys that are out there and see, what makes the most sense for my commanders. So that's going to be in part 2, the next video. So this one will just be, I'm back, whatever, but kind of what formations I'm running. And the next one will be which gear choices I'll go with. So if you're interested in checking that out, I'll link that somewhere. Check it out. Again, appreciate the support as always. You guys seriously cannot express, especially those who have been supporting while I've just been not here for the last 4 months. So thank you. You guys know who you are. And if you're, again, if you're excited for content, let me know what you guys would like to see. Do you like the streams best, video guides? Do you want to see season recaps, report breakdowns, all that stuff? Let me know what you guys would like to see. But that will do it for this video, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next one.